What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Multiverse. Guess what we have today? Yes, even more Marvel news, because following all of the major reveals from Marvel's Hall H presentation at San Diego Comic-Con, people were left with one question. Where are the X-Men? Out of all of the titles and dates revealed, there's not one property for Marvel's Mutants at all, anywhere on the schedule. And today we have gotten some news that may explain why that is. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't going to cover this story originally because the person who was the source of this information was a pretty unsavory character, and I didn't want to plug his show or any of the information that comes from it at all. But reliable scooper Charles Murphy of Murphy's Multiverse just came out and said he's been hearing the same things, and he's been saying this for a while now. And that rumor is that we will not be getting X-Men characters until before 2025. The reason that is because when Marvel purchased Fox, they also purchased all the contractual obligations that Fox had as well. So when they did purchase the rights back to the X-Men characters, they also purchased the contracts that Fox had with the actors, keeping them in those roles. Let me explain this in more detail. Basically, when Fox hired actors to portray X-Men characters, they signed them to multi-year deals, obviously, so that if they made future sequels or spin-offs and they wanted the actor to return as the character, they are under contract to do so. It also protects the actor because the role can't be recast as long as they're under contract or unless the contract is bought out. So basically, these are people like Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, all of these big name people, as well as the younger cast that they were using in the X-Men films, like Alexandra Shipp or Sophie Turner. You know, these actors were all signed on to multi-pictures deals, and Marvel bought those contracts when they bought Fox, and they all lapse in the year 2025. If we start to take all of this into account, things kind of make sense, and we can also kind of see where Marvel's plan is headed towards. They're slowly integrating the idea of mutants and the X gene into the MCU. We've seen that already in Ms. Marvel. And if you think about it, the only real mutants we've gotten from the X-Men are Patrick Stewart reprising the role as Professor X in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and we have confirmation that Deadpool 3 is happening with Ryan Reynolds attached. But both of these actors played these characters in the Fox films, so if they were under contract, that would be totally okay to use them because they were under those contracts. So if Marvel wants to start fresh and cast their own people in the roles of the major X-Men characters, they'd have to wait until these contracts lapsed or to buy out the contracts. So I think Marvel, instead of buying out the contracts of these major mutants like Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Jean Grey, they're kind of waiting for them to lapse so they can finish out the Multiverse Saga. And if you kind of think where the Multiverse Saga is ending with a major multiversal event like Secret Wars, you can kind of start putting the pieces together of what our next saga is going to be. I think it's very smart of Marvel to slowly incorporate the ideas of mutants into our heads, because we are getting Namor in Black Panther, and it's still up in the air of whether he will be a mutant or something else. We know he's probably going to still be part Atlantean, but is he going to have that Homo superior gene that he has in the comics? We don't know. We know that Kamala Khan is a mutant, and we are starting to get this idea of mutation in our head in the MCU, but we have no really big names making appearances outside of the small cameos. It's very possible that we still get The Mutants as a movie released in 2025, or maybe even before that, or maybe it's a Disney Plus show, and that's very well that series could come out and not feature any of the major X-Men characters. There are a lot of minor X-Men characters that have yet to make an appearance in live action that could show up on a show like The Mutants, and that would be totally fine. So it's really up in the air whether or not we're going to see more and more mutants appear before the year 2025. But if we start to think about it, Phase 6 ends with Secret Wars, and that is in 2025. So Marvel could realistically look at that and say 2026, we start introducing the X-Men and those characters into the Marvel Universe, and we build our next saga off of that. Because Secret Wars is like a Crisis on Infinite Earths type event. It takes all of these different different Earths from across the multiverse, and it combines them into one Earth, different aspects of them into one new Earth. So it's possible that in the Sacred Timeline, a version of King thought that mutants might attempt to foil his plans, or they might be so powerful that they'd be an obstacle in his way. So he goes back in time and he stops mutants from being made on the secret timeline. But now, this new Earth that they make after they defeat Kang, we find out that mutants have existed this entire time, and there's a new history to this Earth. Thing very familiar to us and fans of the MCU, but also there are little things here and there that have been newly incorporated. That way you can have a Charles Xavier, you can have a Magneto that have been around for years and have been at conflict with each other for a while now. And then you can slowly start incorporating the familiar X-Men characters. And this saga could build and build and build to an event like Avengers vs. X-Men, or something of that nature. And you could take the Phoenix saga, which has been adapted twice now at Fox, and you could adapt it into the Avengers vs. X-Men storyline instead. Instead of retreading the Phoenix saga, you're taking the Phoenix Force and you're doing something new with it, which I think is very cool. So it's very possible that Phase 4, 5, and 6 are the Multiverse saga, and Phase 7, 8, and 9 potentially are the Mutant saga, or the X saga, or the Children of the Atom saga. But I think that that's where we're headed. And since a lot of people seem to be confirming this news, I think it's going to end up being true. Because, listen, Charles Murphy, he's gotten a lot right recently. He's been on the money about a lot of things, including that we were getting Secret Wars so soon. He was one of the few people saying pre-COVID Secret Wars was 2024, and everyone doubted him. And now, look, we're getting Secret Wars in 2025. So I think it's safe to say that we are getting the X-Men after the Multiverse saga. And when we do, I think they're going to play a major part in the MCU. That way, any older actors or things like that, we can start phasing out, and we can start building around the Fantastic Four, around the X-Men, and the new team of Avengers. And that way, we can build a conflict that incorporates all three of these teams that we have gotten to know for a while now. And I think it's going to be really great. I mean, Marvel knows what they're doing. Why should we even doubt them? They've been ahead of all of us this entire time. And if you really, really think back, when Marvel first bought Fox, you have Alexandra Shipp, who played Storm in the Fox X-Men movies, say she tweeted something along the lines of, do you really think they're going to recast us? And if you think about it now, she was probably so confident about that because she knew that they were all under contract, and she didn't expect Marvel to buy them out of their contracts. So she expected to be used in the MCU. But but Marvel's just deciding to wait the contracts out and start fresh, which I think is great because guess what? They have the chess pieces to do that. They already have these plans in place, so they don't really need to fold in the X-Men if they don't have to. They don't have to rush everything. So I really like that they're taking their time with it, and I think we're going to have a really great future with the X-Men in the MCU, especially if you're an X-Men fan. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think it's true, or do you think this is all crazy and we're getting a big X-Men movie reveal at D23? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe. We got tons of videos coming out. They're great. Until next time, guys.